Hello everyone, my name is Fedro and this is cozyfeji, and on this channel we cover a variety of things such as video essays, reviews, JRPGs, and all things cozy gaming. Today I want to just do a chill sit down talk video of all the video games that I played this year. Just want to put a disclaimer, if you hear any background noises outside, my neighbor is doing construction, I don't know what, and this is the prime time that I can film because I finally have the house to myself and it's somewhat quiet. So if you hear background noise, that is that. So please bear that in mind. But besides that, 2024 is already halfway over, and this year there has been a lot of games that I played. One of my goals this year was to try to diversify my gaming experience, whether that be playing other genres or taking the time to just play other genres, really. I am a JRPG and cozy gaming fiend, especially JRPGs. I am a ride or die for JRPGs. I don't know if you can tell by the channel and my intro, but I love JRPGs. So this year I really wanted to step out of my comfort zone and play genres that I don't normally play, such as like platformers or Souls-likes, roguelike, visual novels, you name it. And I think I'm doing a pretty good job so far. I want to share with you all the games that I picked up and dropped, games that I completed, also games that I had high anticipation for. Some may have led to really standout games of mine, some not so much, maybe disappointments, or some were just right in the middle of the road. So I'm just going to share with you all of the games that I played this year. And looking at my list, I have it on my phone here. I think I did a pretty good job diversifying it. The beginning of this year, I did find myself in a gaming slump around February, which is kind of a bummer. Gaming slumps are never fun, but I feel like I got myself out of that, and I've been in a pretty good stride with my gamings and completing them from beginning to end, which I think is a good sign for me as well. But yeah, I'm gonna just start off with the very first game that I played this year, and that is Atia Riser, The Everdarkness, and The Secret Hideout. I've had this game for quite a while, and I first played it for myself, I think in 2021, for about an hour, and then I dropped it because I wanted to play something else. That will be a courtesy with the games that I dropped this year. Not because I wasn't enjoying my time, but because I just got caught up with other things and other games. But I decided to pick it up again this year on the not the very first day, but one of the very first few days of 2024. If you guys don't know, on the very end of 2023, literally on New Year's Eve, I just finished Trails in the Sky the Third. What a finale to that arc. And so I wanted to start off something fresh and something very lighthearted, and I wanted to pick up Atia Riser because I've had it in my collection for a while. I have all the 3 games in this series. And I've heard really great things about this game. I know a lot of my friends absolutely love their time with this trilogy, and this was the Atia game that got them into the Atia series. And I feel like as someone who loves cozy games and JRPGs, I think this is a good mix of them both. It's a very chill, cozy, lighthearted JRPG that doesn't require too much brain power, but you're just there to enjoy the ride and just sit with it and have a good time. I think what I equate Atia Riser, or just any Atia games, is just a really cute coming of age story of a girl and her friends trying to come into their own and to figure out themselves and what they bring to the world. And I think that this is definitely a good chill game that I feel like would be perfect to play in the spring and summertime seasons because it's just very lighthearted, airy, fun. I put in about 5 hours into this game, and I dropped it not because I wasn't enjoying my time. Again, ever iterate that again, because I kind of was still itching to play another Trails game, which then leads to the second game that I picked up and completed, and that is Trails from Zero. So if you guys don't know, I'm currently trying to play through all throughout the Legend of Heroes games, starting from the very beginning, Trails of Sky, and working my way to the most recent title, which is, as of filming, for the West at least, it's going to be Trails Through Daybreak. And again, by the time this video comes out, Trails Through Daybreak has already come out. Trails from Zero is the first entry of the Crossbell duology, and I was really excited to get into it because this is the game that I feel like a lot of Trails fan credit to be their favorite of the franchise, and this game did not disappoint. I absolutely loved my time with this game and getting to know our cast, because with this arc you're getting introduced to a new set of characters, a new region, and then not necessarily a new villain, but new stakes to the overall arching story of this game. And I absolutely loved my time with it. I feel like every entry of a Trails game is definitely a very slow burn. It definitely allows you to really allow yourself to really get to know the characters, really get to know the region, get to know the world around you before you get to the nitty-gritty of the story. And I feel like that's what happens in Trails of Zero. Truly amazing, and I think I definitely put Trails from Zero in my top 3 so far of all the Trails games that I played. And I completed, and I'm so glad that I did. So the next game that I completed and played was Cult of the Lamb. I do not have a physical copy because I played it on my Steam Deck, and I absolutely enjoyed my time with this game. Now, people call this a very chill, I like to say it's like kind of like a roguelike game with social sim farming elements into it. Because the whole premise of Cult of the Lamb is that you are this really adorable demonic lamb who is a cult leader who's trying to grow his cult, but also defeat demonic beings in, I guess, some other realm. I don't know if I'm even selling this well or describing the main premise well, but what's really cool is that as you're defeating these demonic creatures, you're also helping to grow your cult and to gain more followers and to hold servants, but also growing your cult grounds, which I really find fun with the whole like actual farming and social sim element, because there's some aspects when you get to the social sim part, you get to like obviously pay attention to your followers' needs, make sure they're fed, make sure they're not literally defecating all over the place, which I was not expecting. Also making sure they have food, and also like sending them off on their own to gain new followers and whatnot. I think the whole premise and vibe of the game was so fun and cute, and I think it's a very good introductory to the roguelike genre. I played it on easy mode, and I played it pretty relatively quickly. I finished the main campaign within like 9 hours, and I do not regret my time with it. And I know recently I'm not sure as of filming, but I think they're either are going to or is out of a co-op mode for this game, which I think would be a lot of fun to play with friends. I'm not sure if it's online or couch co-op, but either way, I think it would be a fun way to incorporate your friends into this game, because I had a blast playing this, and I feel like, again, it's a great introduction to the roguelike genre. Now, the next game that I'm going to mention is a game that came out during that whole month of February of the JRPGs that were coming out that time. So during that time period, we had a lot of bangers come out that month, that winter of 2024. We had Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, we had Persona 3 Reload. At the end of the month, we had Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and the game that I picked up out of that bunch was Granblo Fantasy Relink. Out of the 3 games that came out in that February, I decided to get Granblo Fantasy Relink first, because this game I feel like mainly focuses more on the combat and the action gameplay rather than the story, because let's be so real, the story of this isn't anything to run home about, but it's a good enough story to keep you engaged enough into the overall game as a whole. I think this game was a relatively quick finish. To get to credits, I think it took me like 15 hours. It's really, really quick in campaign. Also, I know there's an epilogue, and again, like I mentioned before, this game is mainly focused on the combat and gameplay, and they do have multiplayer aspects to it, which I think is really fun and cool. This is a game that you could definitely go back into and play some boss battles or some fights that you didn't get to finish, or tougher challenges. And I know they're still adding DLC and characters to this game, but overall I had a good time with this game. It definitely wasn't like anything to run home about, but it was a good time, and I definitely recommend to anyone who's interested in a really action-based, heavy focused game. And I know this is based off of the fighting game. You don't have to play the fighting game, and you don't have to watch the anime to really understand what's going on. Obviously, there's characters that it's kind of pops you in the middle of it, but it's not too jarring or it's not too jarring, and you don't get lost in the terminology of the characters or whatnot. Because I think they do a pretty good job at telling you the backgrounds of these characters, why they're there, their motivations, and why you should be playing with these characters and whatnot. So overall, I had a really great time with this, and I definitely should go back into this game, because I definitely want to finish the epilogue and play some other big boss battles that I had a really great time playing. So I'm very happy to have this in my collection. So the next game that I played, but I inevitably dropped, was Dragon's Crown. Now, there's a reason why I picked it up is because I also played this around the same time I played Atia Riser, surprisingly. I played about an hour and then dropped it for something else. I'm such a mood gamer. That's probably what happened, because I'm such a mood gamer. if I'm in the mood to play this for a time and then I kind of get bored and then I want to play something else. So that's probably what happened. But I wanted to give my PS Vita some love because I've been playing a lot of Switch and a lot of PS5 and a lot of my Steam Deck, but my PS Vita has been neglected. So I wanted to pick up this game again, also to diversify the games that I'm playing, because this is more of a side-scrolling beat 'em up action-based game, and it's from Vanillaware. And if you guys don't know, Vanillaware is from the game same developer who created 13th Century Aegis Rim, which is definitely one of my favorite games of 2023 that I played. So I was really excited to get into this one, to play another Vanillaware game, and I just couldn't get into it. I don't know, because again, I'm very much a narrative and story girly, and the narrative in this wasn't really drawing me. And I feel like after a while, I noticed I was kind of trying to, like, I think I was getting too close towards the end, or maybe a little 2/3 of the way into the game, and I realized I definitely need to grind and level up my characters because they're definitely underleveled, and I was getting my ass handed to me by some of these bosses. And so I am kind of a person that doesn't really love to grind games, if I'm gonna be so honest. I like to be able to just go gradually, like I love a gradual level upgrade to my characters, if that makes any sense. So I want to minimize the amount of grinding I can as possible, because if there is grinding in games, like, or at least really hardcore grinding, that deters me from the main story, which is my main focus in a lot of games. I kind of just gonna get put off, and that's kind of where I was with Dragon's Crown. So I'm not sure if I will pick this up again. Who knows? Maybe if I'm in a new mindset, or I'm definitely just in the mood to just like not have a story focused game and just play something to just pass the time, maybe I'll pick up this game again. But as of right now, this is going to be put on hold. But I definitely want to keep it because I want to have something in my PS Vita collection, because out of all the games in my collection, my PS Vita collection is definitely the tiniest for sure. So the next game that I picked up was the last of the Fire Emblem games in the 3DS line of Fire Emblem games that I have not played, and that is Fire Emblem Echoes Shadows of Valentia. Now, I've heard nothing but great things about this game. I know that this is a remake of the second or third Fire Emblem entry, and again, I've heard really great things about the combat. I hear that the combat was really good, the story was amazing, and I wanted to get into it. And this was the last of the 3DS Fire Emblem games that I have yet to play. I played through all the Fates games, I played through Awakening, so this is just last on my my checklist to finally get into. And I was definitely into this game for a bit. I absolutely loved the traversal in this game, and I kind of liked the dungeon crawling aspect. I thought it was a different take to the normal Fire Emblem layout, because usually you just kind of go to a map and then do your battles, which is what happens in this game from time to time. But when you go into a certain area, sometimes you get the opportunity to really roam around and see what's around you, which I think is really fun. And I think they try to incorporate that into later entries like Fire Emblem Engage, but I don't think they executed it that well in that game. But I think the base of this was really fun. And I put in maybe like 6 hours, but for some reason, maybe I just wasn't in the right mindset to play a tactical game at the time, but I just wasn't really gelling with this game like I really wanted to. So I decided to listen to myself and put this on pause, because I definitely know that when I get into the nitty-gritty of this game and really get used to the combat again and get into my tactical bag, I'll definitely enjoy this a lot more. But I definitely want to give this a fighting chance, because I know I will love it. I know I will. So I definitely need to come back to it again when I'm in that right mindset. So the next game that I picked up was something I haven't done in a hot minute, or haven't played in a hot minute, and it is an otome/visual novel. And the game that I picked up was Olympia SW. And I've had this game for quite a while. I think I got this game probably at the end of 2022, and I finally picked it up literally almost 2 years later this year. And I am so glad that I did. I was not expecting this game to rock my world the way that it did. Oh my God. The story in this is impeccable. The characters are absolutely to die for. Usually with otome games, there's always going to be a route that I'm just kind of like about, but I kid you not, every single character in this game I absolutely fell in love with, literally. But the whole premise of this, I'm going to just read the blurb in the back, because I cannot for the life of me do synopsis of games. But in the back it says, the last surviving member of her clan, Olympia, travels to Tengu Island to perform a ritual to bring back the sun. The heads of each district lead a society governed by rigid class structures. Able to travel between the districts, Olympia discovers their wonders and weaknesses. She searches for a partner to help bring unity to this imperial land. So that's kind of very brief, but essentially Olympia, which is this girl here on the cover, let's backtrack. So in this world that we were set in Tengu Island, in this world, there's a rigid class structure based on color. So there's kind of a hierarchy. There's certain colors that have a higher placement in this class structure, and those are that are placed on the bottom. Obviously, certain classes can interact and mingle with another, but classes in lower structures are kind of obviously looked down upon. And if you're in a certain lower class, I believe black, and if you have mixed colors in your body, in your traits, you are sent to like this underworld where they kind of live in, where they kind of just like let these people kind of fend for themselves, essentially. So anyways, Olympia is part of the white class, which is the top of the top pristine class. However, what's really interesting about Olympia, she is part of the white class, which is the top of the hierarchy. However, in her case, she's the only lasting remaining member of the white class. So she has the burden of trying to obviously regrow her class. So she has to. Her main goal of this game is she has to find a suitor and help regrow her class. So essentially she has to get married and make babies. And so what's really interesting in her case, again, is since she's the last remaining member of her class, she kind of lived a very sheltered life most of her life and doesn't really know much about the world around her, how harsh and how rigid the class structure is. So you kind of much follow her as she learns about the society around her, the class structure, the government, and also her coming to her own and learning about love as well, which I think is a really cool premise. And each guy that we follow and that we get to romance has their own backstory and story, and of course they have their own classes. Some of them are placed on the higher end of the hierarchy and some are placed at the bottom, so it's really interesting to see how the relationship they have with the class structure and to see how they carry themselves throughout the world and to see their struggles and all that jazz. Either way, I absolutely loved my time with this game. There were so many gut-wrenching moments that I honestly found myself crying. Was not expecting that. I absolutely loved my time with this game. I don't know if I have even a favorite because each guy that you get to romance are absolutely amazing and they have such a great story. And I highly recommend anyone who's maybe interested into visual novels or otomes, I really recommend getting into this one as a good entry point. It's really story rich, and I feel like, yes, romance is a huge part into this game, but I'm so entranced by this story that the romance was just an added bonus to this game. So highly recommend, and honestly, probably one of my favorite games I played this year, which is definitely was not expecting that. So funnily enough, the next game that I completed is Trails to Azure. And the reason why I say that is because I think I remember starting this game the same time as I was coming towards the end of my playthrough of Granblo Fantasy Relink. The reason why is because while I was playing Granblo Fantasy Relink, it made me really realize I really wanted to play a story-rich game, and I knew I was going to get that with Trails to Azure. So I decided to pick up this game simultaneously as I was playing that game. However, this game kind of put me in a gaming slump alongside with Granblo Fantasy Relink because I wasn't getting what I wanted out of it at the time. And what's interesting about Trails to Azure, because it's definitely, I think, again, in my top 3 of, if not my second favorite Trails game so far. But the reason why it kind of put me in a gaming slump is because I'm not going to lie, the first like 20 hours of this game for me was kind of a slog. I'm not going to lie. The pacing was kind of like not it for me. It took around it's like a 20 to 25 hours for the story to really get going and for me to really like immerse myself back into the game and make me realize, yes, this is what I love about Trails. But yeah, I absolutely love the ending of this game. I do a full, more detailed review of the Trails to Azure and Trails from Zero on my channel. I will put a link into that. You should definitely check it out. But this is a really great cap off for the duology. I absolutely love the Crosswell arc and I love the characters in this game. And I feel like it really set into motion what's really going to happen into the grand scheme of things in Zemuria. I absolutely love my time, and I'm really thankful that I really got into Trails series because it truly is peak story writing, peak storytelling, great character development. It's just, if you are into JRPGs and love a good story, I highly recommend getting into the Trails series. I know a lot of people love to say and have their hot takes on what is the best way to get into the franchise. I know I'm the anomaly because I started from the very beginning and I'm working my way up. Do I think that's the best way to go? Probably not. I think, again, like I can say this as now I'm currently playing another Trails game in a different arc. I think you could start at least at the very beginning of each arc. So that's Trails in Sky, first chapter, Trails from Zero, and then Trails of Cold Steel 1. I think those, and of course now with Trails to Daybreak, which is a new start to a brand new arc and to a new region, you can start from there as well. I think what's best is you start from one of those starting points, finish the entirety of that arc, and then choose to go back to maybe Trails in the Sky. That may be blasphemous to some, and again, as someone who literally started from the beginning, I think it's fine. I think it's fine. As long as they're not like starting off at like Trails to Azure or like Trails of Cold Steel 3. I don't think those are good starting points. Although NIS America, when the Trails of Cold Steel 3 came out, I'm pretty sure that they pushed them like, yeah, you could start here. I'm like, no, you really can't. But either way, I think Trails in the Legend of Heroes franchise is such a JRPG staple you have to get into. Would I say for a JRPG newbie, maybe not get into that one right away, because it is like 10, almost 11, maybe even 12 games that are out. It's pretty daunting, but I highly recommend it once you've like dipped your toes a little bit more into JRPGs, because when you do get into this franchise, you will be in it. You'll be in it, I promise you. So the next game that I picked up and played was Bayonetta. Now, the reason why I picked up Bayonetta is because I kind of wanted to work on a video idea that has been on my mind for a while, and I thought playing Bayonetta would help with that video game or that video essay idea. And also I just wanted to get into the Bayonetta fantasy, because I know a lot of people love it. Everyone like has everything to say about Bayonetta, and after playing it, all I can say is that it's the true definition of camp. That game is so extra, so over the top, so Bayonetta herself is just a funny ass character to me. And I get why people love that game. It was really a lot of fun, and the combat is to die for. I don't have it with me right now because it's actually my brother's copy of the game that I borrowed. But it's a really quick and easy, fun hack and slash game. The story in itself was, I mean, nothing too like out of this world or like super impactful or anything, but I think it was still very engaging enough to get you involved and want to know more. Pretty much you follow Bayonetta, who's been kind of an interesting case because she's ostracized by both the, God, I don't even know the terminology, by the witches and obviously like not the angels. Are they the angels? She's ostracized by both communities in this world that we're in. So you kind of just pretty much follow Bayonetta, figure out who she is, what she is, why is she like, pretty much she's trying to figure out why she is in this world. What's the whole problem? Like pretty much trying to figure out herself. Essentially, she just gets coming. You could say Bayonetta is a coming of age story, even though I don't even know how old Bayonetta is. Is she in her 30s, late 20s, early 20s? I just know that she's definitely a mature lady. But either way, I absolutely had my great time with it, and it was definitely a great game to just play after playing so many JRPGs and novels. And this is where I started to like realize I need to mix up and dabble more into different genres, and I'm really glad that I'm doing that. I feel like with the list of the games that I showed so far, I think I'm doing a pretty good job compared to last year and previous years where I'm just like either JRPG or cozy games. This is it. I realized that this is not on my list, but I did pick up a little and played a little bit of Breath of the Wild. When spring came around, I don't know what it was in me, but I really wanted to replay Breath of the Wild, even though I've already completed it last year. And I have Tears of the Kingdom that I've still yet to play. But for some reason, I really wanted to get back into the world of Hyrule through Breath of the Wild, because I just feel like that is just the epitome of what a spring game is like. And I'm really glad that I did, because it was really fun to go back to that game again and also play it with a different mindset, because when I played Breath of the Wild the first time, I kind of was just solely focused on the main story that I didn't really get to really explore what Hyrule had to offer. And so this time around, when I was playing it, I wanted to really delve into the world of Hyrule. I wanted to participate and engage with the world, and I wanted to unlock all the shrines, get a lot more Korok seeds. I wanted to do more side quests along the way. And even though I played it for a very short time and I moved on to other games, I'm really glad that I took the time to really just take a chill, easy time with this game, because when I played it for the second time around, things that didn't come to me before were coming to me, and then things that weren't clicking to me before are clicking to me this second time around. And yeah, I absolutely love Breath of the Wild. I feel like I understand why Breath of the Wild is definitely a game-changing game and a game that will stay with us and as a classic, because it truly is breathtaking. But either way, I really am glad that I picked that up in springtime. The next game that I picked up is actually my second new release in this game. Now that I'm thinking about it, I've only played 2 new releases in this entire list of games that I picked up. But the next one that I have is Stellar Blade. Now this is a game that I was really, really hyped up for. I played the demo of this game and absolutely loved the demo. I thought that this was something cool and different, especially coming from a Korean developer that has only made one other game. This is their first like proper AAA title, and this was a fun time. I would definitely give this an average score of, like, if I were to score anything, like a 7 out of 10. The story in it had potential. The combat is truly spectacular, but I definitely do think that there's still room for improvement. And with how the story ended in this game, I definitely do think there is a potential for a sequel for this game. I'm really curious as to what Shift Up has to offer next. But yeah, funnily enough, when I played this game, I actually played and got the bad ending. I didn't know at the time until after I went back to look at because when I was playing the game, I knew that there's going to be multiple endings, but I didn't know what. They don't specify. Obviously, they don't specify it's a bad ending, because I didn't really think it was that bad of an ending. But when I looked at the other endings, like, oh yeah, it wasn't the best. But I do think that each ending, I think there's a total of 3. There's a bad, a good, and a true ending. And I think with all the endings, I definitely do think, again, like I said before, there's a potential for a sequel. And I do hope that there is a sequel, because like I said before, Stellar Blade is really a phenomenal game that does have its shortcomings that I do think if they have a sequel, they can definitely polish and have time to grow, not learn from this mistakes, but learn from this game and build upon it. Now the next game that I have here, that I started to pick up and play, and I'm still currently playing as of right now, is Trails of Cold Steel. Now I'm finally entering the 3rd arc, which is the Erabonia arc. And what I love about Trails in the Sky, what I love about the Trails games is that each entry to a new arc is such a cozy vibe. Because the whole essentially with the game is that you're trying to learn about these characters, learn about the region, and to really sit and sink into everything that's happening around you, really immerse yourself into the world, which I think is really cool. And I love that about these games, because especially with Trails of Cold Steel, there's a huge cast of characters that we're getting to know and a huge region compared to the other ones, because Liberl is a very quaint and quiet country. Crossbell is literally just the city, and then Erabonia is this really massive, really established country. So it's really interesting to really just see all aspects of it so far. I'm about 2/3 of the way done with this game as of right now. And I can tell you for now that I do love the game. Again, you're taking a while to get really into the nitty-gritty of it all. I definitely would rank it last out of all the Trails games so far. I definitely will see where my thoughts are when I finish it, but out of the other entries, I think I enjoy the other arcs a little bit more so far. Again, I'm still haven't finished the game, and I'm still in the very beginning of the Trails, the Cold Steel Erabonia arc. So we'll see where my thoughts are once I finish this game and where I finish with this arc. But so far, it's pretty good. It's definitely not my favorite game so far, but it's definitely a good time. But the thing is with the Trails series, no game is terrible or awful. They're still at best, still B tier, A tier, S tier games. Even the worst game is still a really, really good game. Now the next game that I actually picked up while I was kind of because I'm trying to play multiple games at once, and it's so hard. I'm really used to just playing one game at a time and then move on to the next. But I realized with the catalog and my collection that I have, it's gonna make it harder to get through games faster. So I'm trying to do this thing where I'm kind of hopping through game here and a game there. So the next game that I picked up while I was playing Trails of Cold Steel is Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus. Now this is a game that I picked up once I got my PS2. I knew I had to pick up this game because this is my childhood right here. And I completed it, and my God, this game made me realize I am trash at platformers. Ooh, people think, oh, Dark Souls are challenging. Platformers for me are my Dark Souls. This was hard. I just made me realize, God, I really need to step up my platformer game, because when I was younger, I maybe played a little bit of it, and most of the time my brother was the one who was doing the most of the gaming, and I just sat there and watched. But I had a time with this. It was definitely a very rudimental game. This game, it took me about like, I don't know, 8 hours to beat it, maybe 10, because I was dying so many times. But either way, I was frustrated at times. The last boss took me so long to beat, but either way, I still had a fun time, and it made me realize I really want to get good at platformers, because I shouldn't be discouraged. I was more motivated. I definitely want to get to the second game, because I do have the second one. Not right away, because I'm still kind of like a little butthurt of how bad I was doing in this game, but I'm really glad that I had this copy, and I'm glad that I played this game, and it was a great nostalgia trip to get back into this one. Now, the next game that I competed is another Otome visual novel, and that is Sympathy Kiss. Now, this is a Otome visual novel game that I've been wanting and been on my like Amazon wishlist and cart for a while, and I finally dropped in price, so I decided to pick it up, and I finished it relatively quickly. I think I finished it in like 2 days. The routes in this game are pretty quick, and yeah, it was a really fun time. What's interesting about this Otome / visual novel is that it's based on an office setting. It's pretty much real life office setting romance, and you follow most of the people that are in the routes are people that we work with. 2 of them are people that we don't work with. Overall, I had a great time. It wasn't anything to run home about. There are some spicy moments here and there in this game. In this entire, out of all the bachelors, there's maybe like 1 bachelor out of this bunch where I'm just kind of like, I could have done without him. And then there were 2 secret routes set in this, and out of one of the two secret routes I absolutely loved. I thought it was so cute. And then the other secret route, I was just like, yeah, I'm not about the yandere vibe. If you know, you know, yanderes are just not my thing. Maybe they're to you, but for me, it was not. And I guess this might be a little minor spoiler, but one of the secret routes is it definitely goes through the yandere route. Not my cup of tea, but nonetheless, this was a great time, and it's a good palate cleanser of a game to pick up between JRPGs or platformers in my case. It was a great time to just sit down and just read and be romanced and by these cute hot men. Now, the next game that I picked up and played and completed was Fate Samurai Remnant. Now, this is a game that I got a code through the creator program. I don't know if even that's how to call it. Koei Tecmo was having this giving out codes to people, content creators who were wanting to review or talk or play the game, and I decided to fill out that form, and I got a code of it, so thank you so much, Koei Tecmo. It took me a hot minute to play it because I got this code back in April and I didn't play it until like June, and it came with the first 2 DLC packs of this game, and I played through both of them, and it was definitely a fun game. It had like warriors style action based combat. But what's really interesting with this combat is that it had like parry and dodge mechanics in it. It took me a hot minute to get used to those mechanics and to like really nail them down. So what's interesting about Fate Remnant is based on the whole Fate universe. And if you don't know, Fate, I think the Fate series is an anime and also visual novel, if I'm not mistaken. I have not played any of the visual novels, and I've not watched any of the anime, because I'm not gonna lie, that series is kind of intimidating, because like even the community don't even know where is a good starting point for that franchise and series. But what's really great about Fate Samurai Remnant is that you do not have to have any previous knowledge of those games or anime to understand this game. It's a whole entity of its own, pretty much. What's really great about this one is setting in the Edo period, and you follow our character Iori, who is a Ronin who's kind of out of commission, because Ronins are now that this time in the era, the Kanan era, everything's peaceful and everything's Gucci and good. So the Ronins are kind of put out of business. So he takes up random odd jobs here and there. But one day he is attacked by some strange entity and person, and is awoken to this really crazy power that allows him to use and work alongside with a heroic spirit who is Saber, who is I think a common character in the Fate games. And you work alongside him as they fight to take part in this ritual to grant them a wish. And in this ritual, they're also fighting along the other side other fighters who also have these heroic spirit companions who are fighting to also get on this wish. And I really find this game really interesting because it has really cool elements of historical figures in this game that people may have recognized, which I think is really fun. And then of course, the DLC that came along with it, the DLC of the first package, which is basically a tournament style game. And the second DLC is a murder mystery whodunit kind of vibe, which I think was really fun. I highly recommend if you definitely are looking for something that's definitely, the story was definitely really engaging and really fun. And of course, the combat was a lot of fun. Is it my cup of tea all the way? Not necessarily, but I feel like this game is definitely there for someone out there for sure. And the next game that I'm currently playing is Persona 3 Reload. I finally decided to break the seal of this game and finally play it. I've been playing this on my PS Portal that I got recently, and it's been so much fun getting into the world of a Persona game because I've been kind of itching to get back into Persona game because I've only really played Persona 5 Royal and Persona 5 Strikers. I've yet to play the other Persona entries. I have Persona 3 Golden on PS Vita, and of course I have this. What's really interesting, I also have Persona 3 Portable. But what's really interesting in this Persona 3, there's no definitive way to play this game. You could literally play the PS2 base game, you could play P3FS, you can play Portable, and you can also play this one or The Answer. Like, there's really no definitive way to play this game. But I honestly am having a great time playing this. I know I'm weird. Not weird. This may be kind of like controversial take, but I love playing video games with guides. If I really need to like focus on like making sure I'm getting the optimal experience, I like to play with a guide, and Persona games are no exception to that. I definitely play guides with this one because I want to make sure I get everything that I can out of the game, because Persona games are really long, and they're definitely, I don't think for me personally, Persona games are replayable because they're so long. Like, I got other games to play, and so when I want to play this on my first playthrough, I want to make sure that's a good playthrough and I want to get as much as I can out of it. So I definitely follow a guide with this one. And then for me, it doesn't really lose out the experience of the playing. I'm still having a great time, and I absolutely love playing on my PS Portal because the graphics on this are absolutely stunning. If not, dare I say, better than Persona 5 Royal. I mean, granted, it has to look better. It's a newer and the most latest of the game, but it looks stunning. I love the visuals. The characters are a lot of fun getting to know the C's cast. I'm very much in the very beginning. I'm only like 5 hours into this game, but I'm having a great time with this. And I know as of filming this video, this game is currently on the Steam sale, so I highly recommend getting it. And those are pretty much all of the games that I've played so far in 2024. I know that we still have 6 more months of this year, and there is still a huge catalog in my backlog that I need to get to work on this year. With my semester coming up this fall, I know that I probably won't have enough time to really play as many games as I can, so I'm really trying to utilize the summer to play as much as I can before the semester starts, because I know for a fact I will not have time to play as much as I am right now. But either way, I'm really excited and really I'm pretty proud of myself with all the games that I've played and the experiences that I got to experience while playing these games. And I think I'm doing a good job diversifying the genres. I think I could improve a little bit for sure. I'm having a really great time, and again, I'm excited to see what else I play this year and I share with you at the end of the year. Comment down below what are some games that you guys are currently playing, or what are some standouts for you this year in 2024. Again, we're only halfway through, and I know that there's still plenty of games to be released this year that I'm also really excited for. Again, if you guys enjoyed this video, do not forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and I can't wait to see you guys in the next one. Bye!